All right, so I got a guest today. This is Rob Paul. He is the number 2 ranked 308 in the world, only behind Eric Lillibridge, chasing him. Just finished the USPA Southern Strength Showcase.
In Louisiana.
And total 2239.
37, I think.
37.
10, 15 kilograms.
Word.
That's
Word.
right.
So you've been telling me you had some struggles going into the meet.
Yeah, so I didn't make a big deal of it. Being that's the kind of person I am. The idea is to go there and do the best you can with what you have. So I had a little back twig issue. That was something I probably could have avoided, but it was just basically trying to push myself more than I should have. So working on rehabbing that. By the time getting that basically fixed, I wasn't exactly in the right realm of peaking where I probably should have been. I had several other things happen. I strained my pec, but I feel like it might have slightly tore a tad bit. Not nothing too major where I couldn't do anything, but I strained it pretty good where it was like affecting my bench press throughout the last 3 weeks or so. So I kind of had to end up changing my game plan like the last minute. And also like going to driving to Louisiana, just I have like anxiety issues. So part of going into the meet, like they were growing quite a bit with getting things ready. All going to the meet and having to drive there. So I ended up having a panic attack before I left, which wasn't exactly the most efficient thing to do on the drive back.
Not an ideal setting.
Yeah, exactly. And eating wise, once I got there, I wasn't able to kind of keep my meals down for the most part the night of the weigh-ins. So I ended up weighing in around 295. I ate quite a bit, but right after weigh-ins, every meal I had would just come up at about 2 hours after that.
Shit.
That's part of my stress and anxiety. Like the higher it gets, the more it starts affecting things I eat. So I spent the whole night before the meet, from 2 in the morning, about 3 a.m. puking. And same thing with Friday night. I was up all night puking before weigh-ins. The day before the meet, stayed up all night puking. So I ended up sleeping in a little more. The meet started at 9, and it started properly. So my meet's about 20 minutes away. Slept in a little bit more, so I got there late, a little after 9, to the point where it was like almost 10 o'clock, and like my flight was already warming up. So I took about 4 warm-ups, 2 in sleeves, 2 in wraps, and I had to go. So I didn't really stretch too much. So when I got there, I was like, it's fucking showtime. I didn't sit there playing any games. I got there, got ready, got my stuff on. Went out there and then smoked both my attempts, but off my second attempt for 854, I felt like I did something. My hip was really tight after I was done, but then when I sat down and went to stand back up, I felt it in my groin, like it was pulling pretty bad to the point where if I was sitting down, like I could feel it every time I moved my legs in or try to stand up. So I ended up scratching my third. Otherwise, I would have went like 870. They moved really well. I was pretty proud about that, but the smart idea was just to skip the third. Save it for the end, for the deadlift for sure. Then bench press comes around, and I'm chugging down as many BCAs, and I'm trying to eat, but I can't. I'm not really hungry. I think I have maybe like a few things of Pringles, something small just to kind of get going in there. Drink about I'm already about a half a gallon of BCAs and water down. So right when bench press starts, about 2 warm-ups in, puked everything up. And I puked everything.
Dude.
There was not one bit of water, nothing at all. So I got to 495 for my last warm-up, and it moved super slow. Like, I was just, not feeling it. My pec got really tight. And started to drop my opener from 545 to 507. I would have never fucking done that, but had to. So got in the game, did the 507, and it just didn't feel like I was on. So there's no point in me trying to, hurt myself. So I went 545 next, and it flew pretty well. And I was like, damn, man, I should have started with that, but, game plan, you got to adjust on the fly. So went 573, was just enough to get a little more and add it to the total. And I was falling asleep during my bench press. Right when it started, I was nodding off because I had no more energy left. I had taken pre-workout, so just all the energy was gone after that puke session. And then got to deadlifts, and I needed to do 810 to PR my total. So that was the main goal. So do my opener, PR my total, then basically I was done for the day. So I did 777 for my opener, and for me it moved super slow. I didn't touch anything over 750 for about a month and a half. I rarely even over 700 for about a month and a half. So made the adjustment. So it moved well enough. So I went 8:10, nailed that on the second, and then it was just like kind of like feeling myself at the end. It's like, oh, let's just go for a PR. I mean, I could have just added like 5-10 more pounds, but I was kind of at the point where I was kind of just so amped up and so just intensified that I'm just gonna go for it.
Yeah.
While I did so, I ended up missing the lift. So I missed that third one, 8:43, and I thought I was moving it pretty well. But Josh, my coach Josh Brown was like, if you would have kept pulling him out, I'd tore your bicep. Because the way I unlocked and locked my left arm back down, then I'm like blacking out a little bit afterwards and stuff. So I ended up the day was one of probably the worst meets I've ever had, but then being the best meet I've ever had at the same time, because out of the conditions, I ended up PRing my total and my squat off of what had happened. So that basically like the best meet I've ever done. Like, anybody can go into a meet and do a 9-for-9 day and be on point and have a really good day, you know, and be on, but have a good day while you're feeling like crap. Not very many people do that, you know. And I was like, I thought about it afterwards. I was like, you know, you didn't have a bad meet. You had a really good meet, regardless of what happened. So, kind of got to see the silver lining of what happened.
Yeah, I think sometimes, you know, you go 9 for 9. That just means you're not trying hard enough.
Yeah, you know, sometimes that is true. But if you have a right game plan, at least, you know, sometimes sandbagging a tad bit leaves you, you know, room to improve more and more. So you're not exactly. You had to do about 1 rep maxes in gym PRs and stuff like that, and like rep PRs and stuff like that. So the idea is to gradually get better and better without sacrificing your body to hurting it and stuff, so we can always keep getting better.
When things do go wrong, do you have any strategies for adjusting, or are you just trying on the fly, you know, trying to figure out either during your meet prep or at the meet itself? How do you kind of deal with this?
This meet, I did not go in with a secondary approach, because I wasn't, just mentally wise, things were kind of haywire for me all over the place. My grandmother just passed away at the end of October too, so like all that kind of like, that was like the end of like everything. It just kind of like broke me a little bit.
Yeah, you're already hurting at meet prep.
And it's like I had the little time to kind of grieve, but I couldn't really focus on it, you know, because I had to focus on this meet, and it was like tough. It was like being tugged in between both. Everything that's going on, plus that, and trying to make sure I do good and stuff. So I was just being tugged around, and like I didn't have a secondary approach. Normally, I always do. I have a straight strategy plan that usually always goes accordingly, and then I have a slight backup just in case something goes a tad bit off. Like if I miss a bench press, I have an option to do a different deadlift. If I miss a deadlift, I have an option to do something else. You know, like try for either it again or going for broken on the last one, just to get that little edge out. So
yeah,
I always have like some kind of secondary approach. But this meet I didn't. I had my main game plan. And then once, right before I got there, a couple days before, switched it, lowered everything. So just stuck with that main game plan. I figured that was at least enough to be able to do it. But then once kind of things happened after the squat, it was just like, normally I'd have like a little book I would write down things and start calculating stuff. But in between my breaks, in between the squat, bench and stuff, I just was like, I just want to be by myself and kind of like getting focused on just lifting the weights. I wasn't trying to think too much. So this meet wasn't exactly my most planned out meet, but again, it's the best I could do at the time. So not disappointed, but I know I definitely have a lot more that I'm capable of for sure.
And so going into your next meet, have you picked that out yet?
Yeah, doing the Gulf Coast Championship, I believe, is June 2nd. So it's in Texas, and just the idea for that, I had a goals video that I posted. And the idea for that is just to go in, do some small PRs, do like a practice warm-up meet, and then go into the big dogs. So it's just basically just keep everything really light for the most part. You know, not get hurt, stay healthy, and then just coast into big dogs with a big total.
I'm sure some people don't know what big dogs is. You know, so.
Big dogs is an all-out brawl for the biggest total. Doesn't matter what weight class in Australia. Marcos puts this meet on. The past couple of years has been probably the most incredible meet every year for the past 2 years. And there's no weigh-ins or nothing, so basically it's just biggest total wins. So the idea is just to go in and have the biggest total. It doesn't matter, no Wilks, nothing, who cares, it's just whoever outlifts whoever is the winner. And that is enticing, that is so exciting. To be like labeled literally the strongest dude in the world, based off of that, you go against all these other strong people trying to beat them. And anything happened after the last big dogs too, you show that even on a bad day, Andre still out totaled everybody on a bad day, and it pushed a lot of those other competitors, Eric, Sean Doyle, pushed a lot of them to push a little bit harder because it seemed like he was vulnerable, and he still out totaled everybody. And it was a crazy deal to watch because it was so close, and at the end, Andre just pulled it out, just barely inching by that he won. So that's just exciting. That kind of competition is very exciting.
You have a number in mind for that meet you can share with us?
Total the goal is a total over 2,400. That is the main goal that I'm looking forward to. Anything above what I've already done is definitely a plus. So the idea is to go in a total over 2,400. That is the main goal.
I'll be expecting it. So I'm going to link to all Rob's stuff below, so if you want to follow him, check him out on YouTube, Instagram, anywhere else?
Those are my main two.
Cool.
I definitely do a lot of posting on my store on Instagram, and I do keep up with my YouTube every now and then with my training, goals, diets, anything I feel like posting.
And you want to give a shout out to Animal?
I do thank Animal for getting me going to where I need to go, all the supplements they provide me for, and the hospitality for the guys behind the scenes that actually talk to me all the time and check on me and see how I'm doing. Those guys are really awesome.
Hell yeah. Well, thanks, man. I'm going to write this up. You guys check out the article on Barbend, the video, and we'll talk to you next time.
Pleasure. Thank you.